Welcome to O'Sullivan Guitar Works Studios, and today at OGW we're going to be talking about the Ibanez RG7321 7-string electric guitar. This is a video I've talked about doing for quite a while now, as I've used my RG7321 in lots of my demos for guitar pedals and different things like the Line 6 pod. I used it for that. However, I did mention I wasn't going to use my RG7321 because that has been modified. I wouldn't say extensively, but enough to make it not a stock RG7321, from the bridge pickup being changed out for a Seymour Duncan Invader to fret dressings and adjustments and things that I've done to it, shielding, electrical components, some phasing things that I've done with the pickups. So I decided to wait until I had a stock one, which I was sourcing out, and I finally got my hands on it a couple of weeks ago, and I've been away, so it's time now for me. I think I've come back and I'm doing this video now to show you what kind of guitar this is. Now here she is in stealthy black glory. This is the Ibanez RG7321. It's a beautiful guitar. You excuse the reflection of the lights in it because it is quite a gloss finish, and I did just polish it up yesterday. It has just recently been strung. I'll talk about what strings I am using on it, because I use a specific combination of a single for the 7th string and a set for the main 6. The bridge was just referred to as an Ibanez standard fixed bridge from the 2001 to the 2009 model, so this is what this one would be. And this is the AH27 and the AH17 stock pickups that came with it. And it's the Wizard 2 7 neck with a rosewood fretboard. And this is a 5-piece neck. Quite a pretty layout on that neck. I've always liked that joint there. It's a bolt on, as we mentioned, I'm sure, before in the past, but if not, we are now. It's the through from the bridge in the cavity. Well, this was just to give you a general overview of the look of the guitar before we go and check out some sounds. I picked up my personal Ibanez RG7321 in 2003. It was a 2002 model, and I found it on a website for a place called Nevada Music in Plymouth, and that was a few hours away from where I lived at the time in London. The model was stock, it was unused, it was completely new, being that it was only a year old itself. I personally have used this guitar for every project in which I needed to record guitar parts. Sometimes I've paired it with some of my other guitars. I've used it in several different tunings, from drop D all the way down to drop A. And for those unfamiliar with a 7-string guitar, it is a standard 6-string, usually E to E, E, A, D, G, B, E from the low to the high. And there is an additional 7th low string, which is commonly a B. There are many different guitar string sets available for 7-string guitars now, with different purpose-built sets of gauges put together. I personally like to use a 10 set of Ernie balls and then add a 58 for the lower string. Now, the Ibanez RG7321 was produced between the years of 2001 and 2012. They were made in Korea from 2001 to 2004 and then transferred over to Indonesia from 2005 to 2012. There is a reported difference of quality control between the Korean models and the Indonesian models. I have played both. At the time I didn't have a chance to compare them, but it is something that's talked about online, and that does make the Korean models more sought after. The guitar was only ever available in one finish, and that is black, and it is a glossy finish. It is a solid body guitar with a basswood or basswood, depending on how you want to say it, body. The neck joint is an AANJ. The bridge from 2001 to 2009 was just known as a fixed bridge. From 2010 to 2012, it changed to the Gibraltar Standard 7. The hardware color is all black. The neck type is a Wizard 2 7, and the neck materials are maple walnut, and it's a 5-piece neck. The scale length is 648mm or 25.5 inch. The fingerboard material is rosewood with a white binding. The fingerboard inlays are pearl dot. It has 24 jumbo frets. The pickup configuration is 2 humbuckers, and they are the AH27, which is the bridge, and the AH17, which is the neck. The controls are a master volume, master tone, and a 5-way lever pickup selector switch. Now, in researching price points for this guitar, I've discovered that it's available mostly internationally. I found mine through secondhand listings on the Facebook marketplace, but I secured mine for a trade.
Prices tend to fluctuate from around 400 to 550. Now this can also include international shipping. Now I won't really talk about competitors with this guitar because it is an older model guitar, so there are no sort of market competitors right now I would say that are comparable. But at the time of its release in the 2001 USA catalogue, they also featured something called the RG7421 XL. It had a baritone 27-inch scale neck, and it's something I've always wanted to get my hands on, so hopefully one day I'll be able to source one. And also there was a 7420, which was much like the 7321, however with a tremolo system.
Now there is a year difference between my guitar and the one that I got hold of. Mine is a 2002, this one is a 2003. Not much in the way of QC. They're relatively similar. The necks are slightly different. That's something I'll talk about later on. I have a theory on that, and it's actually a theory that's kind of bandied around a little bit on the internet that I first heard from an old guitarist in my band who also owned an RG7321. Going to be doing the view of the guitar a little bit different. I'm going to be going to a separate setting where there's a bit more natural light in my studio at night time, as we are again in the school, still in the school holidays. So I'll have a little handheld footage of the guitar, talk through some of the things that we can see on it, and then we'll come back here in the studio to listen to the playing. Little update on things behind the scenes at the channel. I will still be doing 2 weekly videos whilst we're dealing with these school holidays and having the kids home. Things will carry on. We'll still be doing gear guides and recommendations. I have had some personal changes in that I have left my most recent band. I'm no longer playing bass with them. It was a creative choice on my part. I'm a strong believer of once you know the signs are there and the feeling is there, you should follow that. And yeah, that's a change for me, but the bonus is I have more time to focus on my solo music and some solo projects. I've got a couple of them that I've been juggling and have been kind of put on hold because of focusing on the band. So now I'm going to be chasing down some of those things. I will update them on the channel, and I'll probably be sharing some of that music on the channel as well, which is something I haven't done yet. I wasn't sure about that at first, but I've decided some of the solo stuff going on the channel I think will be a cool idea to hear how I use some of my equipment and some of the things I do. So let's get on with having a look at the RG7321 from Ibanez. So in the studio, I've got my pod hooked up because I want to show you a couple of different sounds with this guitar. I've got the guitar all plugged in, tuned up to drop C, and I have my trusty 1.14mm Gin Dunlop pick. So I've got basically 2 or 3 things from other videos here, a little bit of a confluence to all show off this. See, I knew it would disappear with my hoodie and things. Let's see if we can get it to the side. You can kind of see it though, it kind of extends my body, it looks like, and I'm lit up nicely, not by my light but also by my DAW. So yeah, we're going to run through a couple of sounds. We're going to go distorted and clean. We'll do the clean first, why not? And I am wearing an invisible strap, you shouldn't be able to see this obviously, and yeah, we're going to hear some sounds from the RG7321. This is a clean sound using my pod. It's a very basic sort of simple. So that's just the basic sound with the tone rolled all the way, I guess, up, and the volume all the way up with the pickup in the bridge position. So we'll try now in the second position up from bridge. Bit of a warmer sound, bit of a nicer kind of sound. Now we'll try the pickup in the middle position, the selector in the middle position out of the 5 positions. This is the center. It's nice, very warm. I really like this guitar on cleans. I've used it a few times on projects with cleans, and it always shines really nicely. It's a bit of a bummer you can't really see the guitar from this angle, but I'd have to either play standing up or sit, and it's just a bit more comfortable to be sitting. So we'll try it in the 4th position. This is 1 from the top. I must say, when I tune a 7-string to drop C, I have it C, G, C, F, A, D, and this is, and then the high E I have as a D as well. So that's 2 Ds you're actually hearing there, so I just don't finger that one when I'm playing higher sort of parts. Now the last part we'll go into is the last position in the top. Obviously it gets warmer as you go up to the neck, and it's this will be the full neck now, and it's I really like this sound in the neck. So it's quite a strong, you know, really nice backbone to strummed chords, and on a guitar like this, don't expect it to have that warmth. It's one of the strengths of this guitar. I've always maintained it's a great guitar, not just for heavy, you know, throaty, chuggy sort of metal. It's really great for clean stuff. Now I'm going to mess with the tone in the bridge position because I think it gives you the crispest representation of what the tone does. So we are back in bridge position. Now we roll the tone off. Gives you a bit of tone. Previous owner didn't sort out some crackle there. I didn't realise I needed to sort that out, so I'll have a go at that later. Now the tone kind of does a similar thing to the pickup selector. Now if we marry those two up, so we'll go back to tone rolled all the way up, and we go to neck position, tone rolled up, tone down. Nice, gurgly. Throaty. I really like that sound. It's just nice and warm, and if you are doing a sort of passage with just maybe some bass and some guitar and some low sort of key sort of drums, that kind of stuff is really nice. So onto the tried and true distortion channel that I use for all my demos, and I've used for recording an EP with my band. I've used this for most of my left-hand guitar setting. I have a specific reason why I use it just for the left side. It was to do with the way the cymbals sit in the mix, but that's a whole other story. It's all about mixing and stuff. But this is my personal favourite for just tracking guitar ideas and just running through ideas in my head. If I have a guitar riff idea, I always try it out with this guitar setting as kind of my representative for the tone. And this is in the bridge position first. distortion, fun, nice, we like that. So now we'll try moving the selector up like we did before, and then we'll do the same test with the bridge and tone and the neck and tone. So second position selector. You lose a bit of distortion, but you get a bit more grit, like from sort of raw tone. So we'll move up to the middle position now, third position. Well, it turns our distortion into like a fuzz effect. With a fuzz effect, that'll probably sound pretty gnarly. Yep, fourth position now. Again, we just keep getting that, but you actually get a little more clarity as you engage the neck pickup. When you're in that middle position, you do get just a lot more fuzz and twang. But top position now, number 5. So there's a bit more clarity and bite. What we kind of expected is a very similar approach with the clean as it is with the distortion, that it will just give you that more throaty kind of tone, your bluesier tone when you use things like a Les Paul, comes from that neck position. We're back at the bridge now, and a bit more bite, and I'm going to mess with the tone now, just go from full tone to no tone and see how it sounds. So full tone, no tone. You can hear the difference there. Now we'll try the same with the neck position. So neck position. Now we'll try the tone, roll back. So there's kind of a spectrum of clean to distortion of what you can do. It's a very simplistic guitar. In reality, it's 2 humbuckers that you can split and do a few things with the selector. You know, 1 tone, 1 volume. Volume does exactly as a volume does. It's a simple guitar. It's a very simple guitar. It's a very utilitarian guitar. It has served me well. The model has served me well for a long time now. I'm coming up on having my guitar for nearly 20 years, so I would testify in any official legal means that I love this guitar. I would recommend it to anyone. It's not for everyone, but I think it could work for anyone if you pick this guitar up. I've had multiple guitarists from multiple bands all turn their nose a little bit up at the 7-string and look at this and think, oh, it's not a Horizon by ESP, or it's not a Prestige Ibanez, it's not a Jackson, custom shop, it's not one of the more fancy 7-strings that are out there, especially now with your new brands. Black Machines are not so new, but those kind of more custom models and those more expensive that start at like a grand a pop. This is a guitar that when it was out was going for 300-400 quid, maybe 5 at a push, and as we talk about in the specs, it's available still for a decent price. And if you can get your hands on one, as I did in a handy way, which was a trade, I got my hands on this in a trade, you're very, very lucky. And I'm probably not going to keep this one because I have my one, which is just over there, and I'll still use that one because of the pickup configuration with the Invader and just the way I have it set up. But this one is just, it's a little less because the neck is slightly different, but it's still such a comfortable guitar. Now, I was going to mention the neck thing. I'll get into that now. Basically, the did I say maybe a myth, like one of those guitar myths that float around, is that when they were making these guitars in the factory in Korea, they had a surplus of Wizard necks for Prestiges. They were fantastic necks. They were brilliant. They were just, the best quality you would get of the 5-piece necks at the time. I can't remember the model, but my old guitarist did tell me this, like probably 15 years ago roughly, and he told me that they basically had a surplus of these necks that were for Prestiges, and they thought instead of making more necks for the budget RGs, the RG7321s, they decided to just use those necks that were left over for the Wizards. So there are lots of models floating around from 2002 to 2003 that have Wizard Prestige necks on them. They are marked, branded as RG7321s, Korean made, and they have the right serial numbers on them, but they are actually fitted with separate different necks. Now these necks are fantastic, and the fretboards are different on them as well, and it's said that they have a lighter rosewood, a much lighter presenting rosewood. This one is the 2003 model, has a very dark rosewood. It's hard to tell in this video, but the wood is very dark. It's almost ebony in some light, but it is a rosewood neck. My other one that I own from 2002 has a very light rosewood, very obviously a rosewood neck. So I wonder if there is a difference there. I wouldn't know how you could confirm that. I'm sure there's people out there who say it's true. I'm sure there's people out there who review it massively. But either way, it's an interesting story. It's kind of cool. It's nice to have a guitar and think there's something special about it as well, which is kind of always a sweet thing. But I mean, either way, the feel of the guitar is what's important. It doesn't necessarily have to have a story, but kind of a cool thing to think about as well. So let's get down to the nitty gritty on this one. We have talked about my experiences with the RG7321. We've talked about the specs, and we've heard some sounds from it. Although not a massively extensive test, I just wanted to give you a brief overview of the sounds it can create. So yeah, I'm going to, till my dying days, be an advocate for this guitar. I love Ibanez. I'm an Ibanez user. If I could be endorsed by any company, it would be Ibanez for bass and for guitar. If I could have a custom guitar made, I maintain I would just have a few modifications made to the RG7321 model. If you're interested, my specific details, one day I will probably do a little video talking about things that I like on a guitar, maybe even come up with the idea of like a spec guitar, and hopefully in the future I'd like to maybe build myself that guitar based around the RG7321 model. And I think something that's really important is how you attach to a guitar and how a guitar makes you feel, and I've just always felt super comfortable playing my RG7321. I've never not wanted to pick it up whenever I've been away guitar for an extended period of time, maybe playing bass, or I've just not been playing because I've been busy working, making videos for the channel, editing, or with family. I always go back to my 7-string and I go back to playing it, and it feels like an old pair of shoes. It just feels fantastic and comfortable. I'm thinking there might be a section of each video every week where I just kind of interject and say, do I still love this guitar? And the answer will always be yes. So maybe I'll just scrap that and just say blanket, if I'm talking, I'm also, still in love with this guitar. So, you can see that I'm a fan. So some points on it that I really like. The neck is fantastic on it. Both models I've tried, and I have actually played a 2010. I found it in a shop, Cash Converters, and it was a bit beat up, but I had to play around with it, and the neck was comfortable. Not as good as my 2002, it felt like, maybe there's something in that rumour. But the neck feels fantastic. It's a fast neck, it's a comfortable neck, it's broad, so you feel like you can get a lot of purchase on it. The fretboard was completely consistent, there's no dead spots, there's no messing around, there's been no warping, there's no funny business. I remember the day I got the guitar and played it, and the fret work finish was fantastic. I did nothing to it. I've done nothing to the frets. I've had lots of Ibanez's come my way and play around with them, a couple of Prestige, a couple of Premiums, and they were spotty on the frets at times. And I don't know if that was a symptom of the period of which they were made or of the type of guitar, but they were just spotty. QC was not quite there, obviously. I've had vintages, I've had Les Paul Epiphones, I've had Gibsons that I've played. not owned but played, and they've had some issues with the board and the neck. This guitar, no problem. I may be talking from a very unique perspective here because other people may have had problems, but that's just my personal experience. A secondary part to the guitar, those stock pickups were fantastic. I remember using them for years, and I used them on old projects, never had a problem with them. I only decided on the Invader after hearing a few samples of a guitarist playing one on a video I saw on YouTube years ago, and it just kind of got me into the idea of using the Invader. And I kind of like the look of them as well. They kind of, I'm not going to lie, they grabbed my attention with the big pile pieces. They were cool looking. So yeah, I have to say I'm a bit vain, and I enjoyed that a lot. And another part of it is the weight. I really like guitar. It doesn't feel heavy at all, and with the basswood body, it's comfortable as hell. You can wear it for ages and no problem, no issue. I love the look of the guitar. It's sleek. It just looks all business. I really like that about it. It's minimalist, which is something I'm a huge fan of. I like minimalistic looking guitars when it comes to my own ones. I love a wall hanger. I love a beautiful. I love a gold sparkle. I love a flake. I love a pinstripe. I love, flames on a guitar because I love guitars and interesting wood grains. I love all that. But this minimalistic, utilitarian sort of workhorse look is really appealing to me. And black, all the time. You can't go wrong with black as a colour. It's tried and tested for metal guitars and just cool looking guitars. Now, I'm a big fan of Fear Factory, Dino Cazares with Fear Factory. I was a big fan of Korn when I was younger. I still like a lot of old Korn, but I was a bigger fan when I was younger. Seeing the 7-strings used there, and down the line seeing bands like Pestilence, Patrick O'Malley playing a 7-string, and other guitarists playing those 7-strings really spoke to me. And the 7-string kind of was a thing that I picked up, adopted, and really fell in love with. I do have an 8. I will do a video on the 8 at some point, which is cool, but I just attached really to the 7 and the scale of the 7 and the feel of the 7-string's neck. And I understand a lot of what I'm saying about this and my feelings of this guitar is personal preference, but that's a lot of what guitars are. I can only tell you, the feeling I get from this guitar is something I think can transfer to others, and I have had the experience, like I said, of showing this guitar and letting other guitarists play with it, and they've been blown away with it, not expecting at all what they felt from it. I have used this guitar with Marshall amps, with PVs, with a Soldano. I tried it once briefly with a Soldano. I wished I got more time because I love this SLO 100, but I really didn't have the time to use it. It was a different Ibanez as well. It wasn't mine. It was a 7321 though. I have used it with Engels. I've used it with Bogners. I've used it with a few different amps, and to be honest with you, every time I come away with a huge smile on my face, not just because of the amp though. I think the guitar combination with the amp and the guitar is really magic. And I think my final point is I'm heavily biased. So everything I'm saying is opinion, and everything I'm saying is just me being in love with a guitar, and that's not a bad thing at all. So maybe there's a guitar you love, drop us a comment and let us know what your version of my love for the RG7321 is, and let us know what you thought of the video and what you think of the channel generally. Our next video will be out in 2 weeks from now, and hopefully after the holidays we'll be back to a weekly schedule where I can bring you some more gear overviews and recommendations and guides. Please let us also know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see in the future, if you'd like to see more budget stuff, or if you'd like to see me tackle a bit more expensive or something different maybe I've never talked about, and something I can maybe offer opinions on. I have said there will be some music coming down the line in the future with some of my solo ventures. That's something to keep your eyes and ears peeled for. And drop us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and keep your eyes open for some future stuff coming down the line from OGW Studios. And take it easy and take care.